1 Kings chapter 19 verses 4 through 8. Elijah strengthened by that food, he walked to the mountain of God. Elijah went a day's journey into the desert, until he came to a broom tree and sat beneath it. He prayed for death, saying, "This is enough, O Lord. Take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." He lay down and fell asleep under the broom tree, but then an angel touched him and ordered him to get up and eat. Elijah looked, and there at his head was a hearth cake and a jug of water. After he ate and drank, he lay down again, but the angel of the Lord came back a second time, touched him, and ordered, "Get up, and else the journey will be too long for you." He got up, ate, and drank. Then, strengthened by that food, he walked 40 days and 40 nights to the mountain of God, Horeb. Elijah, a prophet of God, is asking God to take his life, but why? We need to understand Elijah's problems, and then we can understand his request that God take his life. Let's take a look at the preceding chapter, 1 Kings chapter 18. God is using Elijah in an effort to turn Israel away from idol worship, and back to God. The king at the time was Ahab, but the real power in the country was Ahab's pagan wife, Princess Jezebel. When she brought to Israel her form of religion, idol worship of the pagan god Baal. She also assembled 450 of what she called prophets of Baal. Elijah now needed to show that the God of Israel was the only true God, and here is what he did. 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 30. Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. The contest rules were: each side would build an altar, prepare a sacrifice. No one would light the sacrificial fire. The real God would send fire. Whoever lost, died. The real God would protect his prophets. Baal's prophets prayed, danced, and even cut their own flesh. This went on until the afternoon. It was now Elijah's turn. Elijah built the altar, prepared the sacrifice. Then, to add drama to the demonstration, he had the sacrifice soaked with water 3 times. Then he prayed. Fire came down from heaven, and the whole altar, including the stones, were incinerated. 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 4. Elijah at Sinai. Jezebel was still the real power in the land. She was furious with Elijah for his killing all of Baal's prophets just after the contest was finished. She ignored the fact that the God of Israel outdid Baal. She sent Elijah a message that she would have him killed the next day. He then ran for his life. The reason for Elijah's depression and his request that God take his life is now clear. Elijah had risked his life for God, won a great victory, and was still threatened by the king's wife. In this reading we see that Elijah remained faithful and continued to obey God's every desire. Now he sets off on a 40-day march to the mountain of God, Horeb, which is also known as Mount Sinai. Remaining faithful has long-term benefits. Mark chapter 8 verses 34 through 38. He summoned the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "Come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and that of the gospel will save it. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world and forfeit his life? What could one give in exchange for his life? Whoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this faithless and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels."